These 6 photographs span 32 years. The earliest taken just 8 blocks from the most recent. Chicago, so the most recent is actually the exhibit that I'll be installing this weekend. It'll take about a week to install. About 100 photographs of Chicago Avenue in about 19 businesses, in-store windows, but also inside businesses. So Cup Foods on the corner will have about 30 photographs on their ceiling. Chicago Avenue and Lake Street was the first best street photo I ever took. I may not have taken a better one since. I was fresh off of a 1-week workshop with the celebrated street photographer Gary Winogrand, who has actually a retrospective at, I think, SF MoMA currently, who was a genius at surreptitiously rendering his subjects. My inclination for several years after was to emulate the inimitable master before finally settling into my own idiosyncratic approach. Since then, I've photographed thousands of strangers, but for the most part, I have talked to the subjects first. On that day, in 1981, however, while crossing perhaps the most trafficked urban corner in Minnesota, Chicago and Lake, I held my camera to my eye, got up one frame, and kept on walking, my furtive actions unbeknownst to those now frozen on film. The drama of the intersection has been a leitmotif throughout my, did I pronounce that correctly? Throughout my photography projects.
As far as we know.
Okay. Intersections are the soul of the city. In the urban core, they are the democratic gathering spaces where one crosses paths with those whom might otherwise be avoided. Their four corners congregate shifting cultural islands that we glimpse or ignore as we scurry from place to place. They are the in-between places. Interesting to analyze and photograph how people waiting in public situate themselves in relationship with others in the intersectional landscape. What are the multitude of interpretations we infer in those spatial distances and stances? And how much of what we view in a photograph has to do with the viewer rather than what is viewed? How much of what we see is personal, cultural, political, societal? To me, the more meanings a photograph suggests, the more successful the photograph, which means you usually have to take a lot. I took several rows as I followed the aluminum collector for half a day as she went about her daily job, while also tape recording conversations with her. I am a self-taught photographer. My formal training, though, is in journalism, and I often write about the people I photograph. I graduated from the U of M with a bachelor's degree in journalism. Scott edited that part out. It's been a long time since I was a general assignment reporter for the Minnesota Daily at the University of Minnesota, but I am still a kind of journalist. I had seen her, I'm talking about the photograph now, that's on page 33. I had seen her in the dead of winter, carrying cans balanced on a pole, as though she were coming back from the market in her native Cambodia. She does it for the money, $16 on a good day, and because it gives her purpose. But it's hard work, and her legs are bruised from the rocks kids throw at her. Her daughter is amazed that her mother never seems to get sick, even though she eats very little. I took this photo shortly after a brief rest under the shade of the McDonald's arches, where she pulled out her lunch, a small plastic baggie containing a few green leaves. Later, when I showed her the pictures, she shook her head, kind of laughed and said, "Too thin. I used to be much prettier." So in the photograph, I probably, I took, I don't know, maybe 100 photographs. You can't see real clearly, but it wasn't until she crossed the street I thought this was the most interesting photograph. And you can see McDonald's. Armageddon is here. So they were advertising. Thank you.